Every fortune, whether lost or gained, begins with a single choice. This story reveals a truth often overlooked. Wealth isn't about how much you earn, but how much you keep. Throughout history, those who mastered this lesson thrived, while others remained trapped in cycles of struggle. Today, you'll uncover the secret to true financial freedom, a lesson that can change your future forever. Lesson 2. The art of living below your means. In the heart of Agdir's bustling market, where the scent of spices blended with the shimmer of fine fabrics, lived Samir, a young merchant with grand ambitions. His talent for negotiation was undeniable, but his love for luxury kept him from truly prospering. Whenever he made a profitable sale, his first stop was the city's most expensive tavern, where he ordered the finest wine and generously spent his gold on friends and strangers alike. Every coin that entered his purse seemed to burn in his hands, eager to leave before it ever found a purpose. One day, as he stood beside his friend Hakim, Samir admired a magnificent black stallion belonging to a wealthy noble.
"One day, I'll own a horse like that, Hakim,"
he declared, his voice filled with ambition.
"In fact, I've already arranged to buy a purebred white stallion. The women in town won't be able to take their eyes off me."
Hakim frowned.
"And how much will this vanity cost you, Samir?"
"Only 10 gold coins a month. In a year, it'll be mine."
Hakim sighed and pointed to a sturdy, reliable gelding tied near the stable.
"Why not buy one like that? It'll take you where you need to go, without chaining you to debt."
Samir scoffed.
"Hakim, how can you compare a gelding to a stallion? Who would look at me riding that creature?"
Hakim crossed his arms and met his gaze.
"Respect doesn't come from what you ride, but from what you build. If you sacrifice your freedom for appearances, you will never truly own your wealth."
Samir laughed and brushed off the advice. He went ahead with his purchase, feeling like a man of prestige. But as the months passed, the burden of payments and interest began eating away at his profits. His once full purse emptied faster than ever. One day, Samir had to cross the desert for an important business deal in a distant village, one of his main suppliers. He carried only an old water skin and a few provisions, as most of his gold had gone toward the monthly payment for his prized stallion. During the journey, when he reached for water, he discovered his water skin was empty. Small cracks had leaked every last drop. Dehydrated, stumbling, and with his mouth as dry as the desert itself, he collapsed onto the scorching sand, convinced his time had come. When he awoke, he found himself in a majestic oasis. The palm trees swayed gently in the breeze, and beside him stood a man in a flowing white robe, his gaze deep and knowing.
"Are you thirsty, traveler?"
the man asked, offering him a clay jar. Samir eagerly reached for it, desperate for relief. But as he lifted it to drink, he realized the jar was cracked, just like his water skin. Most of the water slipped away before ever reaching his lips.
"What's happening?"
He gasped in despair. The man looked at him calmly.
"Just as your water slips through these cracks, so does your wealth. You are quick to spend on things you don't need, yet you neglect what truly matters. What good is gold if it cannot quench your thirst?"
Before Samir could respond, the man vanished. His vision blurred, and he lost consciousness once more. When he awoke, he was back in the desert, the sun beating down on his skin. Looking around, he spotted a small oasis with clear water nearby. Had it been a dream? A mirage? He drank slowly, carefully, and in that moment, he understood. His fortune had been slipping away just like that water. If he didn't learn to save and prioritize what truly mattered, his purse would always be empty, just like his water skin in the desert. Upon returning to Agdir, Samir was about to realize another major mistake he used to make: his spending at the market. Every morning he wandered through the bustling streets, buying whatever caught his eye without ever comparing prices. He chose the ripest fruits, the finest fabrics, never asking where he could find a better deal. One day, as Hakim watched him, he asked,
"Samir, why do you always shop here? There's a market by the river where everything costs half as much."
Samir chuckled.
Who has time for such things, Hakeem? I'm not a beggar bargaining for coins.
Hakeem shook his head and replied,
This isn't about being a beggar. It's about being wise. Every coin you save here is a coin you can invest in something that will truly make you prosper. But if you insist on always paying the highest price, your gold will always slip through your fingers.
It was as if Hakeem had seen what had happened in the desert. At last Samir understood. His wealth never grew because small daily wastes prevented him from accumulating anything meaningful. Determined to change, he adopted a new approach. He learned to negotiate, avoided unnecessary expenses, and distinguished between what he wanted and what he truly needed. Slowly but surely, his purse began to stay full. One day, a young merchant approached him.
Master Samir, how can I become as wealthy as you?
Samir smiled and replied,
Live below your means. Don't let fleeting desires steal your future. Spend only on what's necessary until the necessary costs you nothing. Avoid debt and remember, wealth isn't about looking prosperous, but about being free.
And so, the lesson was passed on, ensuring that others would not repeat the mistakes that had once nearly cost Samir his life. Just like Samir learned to stop letting his wealth slip through his fingers, today is your chance to take control of your financial future. Hold on to what truly matters, spend wisely, and build the freedom you deserve. If this story inspired you, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more lessons that enrich not just your wallet, but your life.